Colorado Republicans, who were powerless to stop Colorado's latest gun control law, are now pleading with the Trump administration to challenge that law before it goes into effect. This is the law requiring people to take a gun safety training class before buying many semi-automatic weapons. Last week, Democratic Governor Jared Polis signed off on Senate Bill 3, which requires in-person training and an eligibility card issued by county sheriffs after a background check. Republicans were far from having the votes to stop it at the Capitol, but they're calling the new law a quote-unquote emergency for the state and asking Trump's Department of Justice to get involved. The bill started out this year as a straight-up ban on several semi-automatic firearms. It was watered down into this training course for new purchases. But Republicans say it essentially forces people to purchase their gun rights from the government.
This bill, despite its stated intention, takes what has always been a constitutional right, the right to keep and bear arms, and converts it into a privilege that must be earned through compliance, payment, and government approval.
Now, this law is likely to be challenged in court, although even the most outspoken gun rights advocates in our state have said that this one could be tough to overturn. Gun rights groups have seen considerable success in challenging other recent gun control measures in Colorado. Today, Governor Polis said all those lawsuits act as a check on the state legislature.
Every time there's a bill that, protects our Second Amendment rights, but adds different gun safety components, like, for instance, raising the age from 18 to 21, now making sure that people have some training in gun safety, there's always lawsuits. And so that provides a natural check on making sure that the state of Colorado doesn't do anything that would jeopardize our Second Amendment rights.
As of this morning, Republicans said they had not received a response from Trump's Justice Department. The DOJ has shown a willingness to insert itself into Colorado legal affairs in unusual ways upon request from Republicans. The DOJ is trying to get involved to free Tina Peters, the former county clerk who's currently serving prison time for breaking into voting systems in an unsuccessful attempt to prove President Trump's election rigging lies. A federal judge in D.C. is threatening to seek prosecution against Trump administration officials for ignoring his order to return hundreds of deportees flown to a brutal prison in El Salvador. We currently know of 2 men from Colorado thought to have been disappeared to that foreign prison without due process. The Trump administration has been defying Judge James Boasberg since last month, when he stopped the expedited deportations under the Alien Enemies Act, ordering 2 planes en route to El Salvador to return to the U.S. Families and immigration advocates say at least 2 Venezuelan men living in Colorado were on board those flights. The Supreme Court has since allowed the deportations to continue, but Judge Boasberg says the administration isn't off the hook for violating his initial court order. Unless the government remedies the violation by giving deportees in El Salvador the chance to challenge their removal, he says he may hold Trump officials in contempt. The Trump administration says it'll appeal that order. Trump and his allies have repeatedly questioned the authority of federal judges and specifically called for Judge Boasberg to be impeached. Denver's longest, wickedest street is now just long and torn up. Work to build a new bus rapid transit system has construction all over Colfax. If that didn't cause enough chaos for businesses, the new Trump tariffs certainly are not helping them either. Here's Mark Salinger.
It's an urban hike right now on Colfax.
Colorado's most iconic street is now a maze of detours, hard hats, and shops in need of help.
Navigating Colfax is definitely impactful to our businesses.
When the construction for a new bus rapid transit system moved in, the people who usually come to spend money here moved out.
We're looking at probably an average of 33%, loss.
Denon Moore is with the Colfax Business Improvement District.
Yeah.
It's not just the orange cones posing challenges.
Think about our businesses struggling with rising rents, rising cost of goods. Sure, the tariffs news on top of all of that is just one more layer of impact to our businesses.
Especially as a small business owner, you're dealing with so many different versions of adversity.
John Renstrom owns Division West, selling clothes and shoes on Colfax. He's navigating the construction zones outside his window while tracking the tariffs that'll impact his goods.
For me, there's just so much uncertainty, and the question marks around everything is what creates an additional underlying stress.
John loves Colfax. He hopes when the construction passes, the 4 lease signs that dot the street today will once again be filled with small businesses that make the neighborhood unique.
Once a lot of places close down, if they can make it through certain things, especially restaurants or what have you, what else is going to go in there? Do you want this to be the 16th Street Mall? Do you want Chili's.
We have these vacancies. People are not going to be ready to rent anytime soon in those vacant spaces.
Colfax is in a moment of change.
This place is the heartbeat of Denver.
Everything else going on in the world doesn't make it any easier.
City of Denver has a program to award grant money to struggling businesses in construction zones, but no money has been awarded yet, even though construction started almost 6 months ago. I'm told the first round of grants will be announced on Friday, and the businesses that are chosen will get the money in May.
We understand small businesses come and go from the city all the time. Can we quantify how many businesses have closed on Colfax because of BRT construction?
So as of this time, the Business Improvement District on Colfax thinks that it's about a net zero. The ones that have closed, other businesses have opened. However, if you think about the ones that have closed, all those 4 lease signs that you saw there in the story, it's going to be very hard to fill those spots until the construction wraps up. Nobody's going to want to go in there.
And wait it out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mark Salinger, thank you. The Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs has been ordered to purge its library of books related to diversity, equity, and inclusion, along with some topics related to race and gender. A memo obtained by the Associated Press directs the Army and Air Force Academies to flag any so-called DEI content by the end of May. The Trump administration will then review the books to see if they can stay. This is a slower purge than the clean-out that happened at the Naval Academy Library. They tossed out nearly 400 books, including titles on feminism, civil rights history, and the Holocaust. Speaking of, at the Naval Academy, Hitler's Mein Kampf made the cut and is still available to read. In a statement, the Air Force Academy said that they're conducting a deliberate review of the library to comply with the new policy. Department of Defense has issued sweeping orders to remove diversity, equity, and inclusion content from military archives and military websites. Hunger exists even in Colorado's wealthiest communities. Talking to the folks who run Secor Cares in Douglas County, they told me recently, quote, "The need is insane." So let's do something together to fight that often unseen and unspoken about problem in our community: suburban poverty. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign supports Secor's work feeding families in Douglas, Arapahoe, and Elbert counties. Secor's free food market focuses on choice, trying to remove the stigma that can come from accepting help when you're in need. People select the food items that their families want to eat. It's not just a you get what you get from the food pantry kind of situation. The nonprofit market goes beyond groceries to offer hygiene products, even allows families to bring home flowers with their groceries, like anybody else could at the store. Secor says it has seen a doubling in need in the last 2 years on the south side of the metro area. And it's happening at a time when giving in our community has slowed. Now, your Word of Thanks microgiving still going strong week after week. And get this, Secor was able to line up a $25,000 matching grant from an anonymous donor. So whatever we give this week will be doubled. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to get that link to donate. Just as we've done for 254 weeks of giving now, I'll match the first 50 donations of $5, so we're in it together. Nearly 5,000 of you have signed up to make a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. You put in your info once, and you don't get all the annoying emails and so forth. We split your donation among every nonprofit we feature. And that has meant that recent microgiving campaigns have started with more than $30,000 in donations. Use that same QR code or text to get there.
The thefts of these items are small as far as what you can negotiate. The impact to communities and to businesses are huge.
Denver City Council says it has successfully addressed catalytic converter thefts. And now there is a new hot item stolen around town. Colorado's firefighters prepare for the heart of wildfire season, wondering whether the federal government will help foot the bill as always. That's next. Thieves who used to steal catalytic converters have found a new shiny object. So Denver City Council is turning to a familiar strategy to deal with scrap metal thefts. Our Julissa Arizari has that.
What kind of show I don't even know what show we have tonight.
There's no stopping when running a music venue and restaurant. But what happened at Roxy's on Broadway a couple of months ago gives Paula Varakis
Oh, do we have to watch this?
some pause.
So these are two very skilled and seemingly trained gentlemen methodically cutting out all of the copper wire from the back of my restaurant.
The business fell victim to a few bandits, taking all of the copper wiring, but leaving a nice $20,000 bill.
And, 12.5 of that was the actual rewiring of everything.
The thefts of these items are small as far as what you can negotiate. The impact to communities and to businesses are huge. We intend to stop that with this ordinance.
City Councilman Darrell Watson introduced a proposal to regulate the sale of scrap metals, similar to what Denver did in 2022 with catalytic converters, after seeing a surge in thefts.
We know that those decreased by 95%. We expect the same to be with scrap metals.
The ordinance would change things like requiring sellers to have a government ID, junk sellers to keep record of all the sellers' info, and banning walk-up sales and cash transactions. Thieves hit more than homes and businesses. Since August 2022, RTD says light rail copper wire thefts have cost the agency about $150,000. That doesn't include the loss of power, leading to a loss of business.
There was a reason for them to do it. And if we take the reason away, they won't do it anymore.
Varakis wants this ordinance to get the green light. If it means situations like this will stop.
You can't really put it into words how devastating something like this is. If I never see this video again, it wouldn't upset me.
Councilman Watson believes the ordinance will be up for a vote by the end of May. He mentioned other neighboring communities are also looking to address similar issues. Kyle, Lakewood, Westminster, Aurora, and Commerce City tell us they haven't seen an increase in scrap metal thefts at all.
I'm almost hesitant to mention the Trump tariffs for the fourth time in this program, but they have an enormous impact upon our society and could even trickle down to this issue.
Yeah, we saw actually the scrap metal theft number drop in 2024 just a smidge, but there is a concern. The council members that proposed this ordinance are concerned that with the tariffs, they may see a spike again because the value of metal will go up.
It's just economics, even for thieves. All right, Julie Sayers-Zeri, thank you.
We had a sunny day today with temperatures in the upper 70s. That's right, the average high is 61, our high was 79. The clouds have rolled in and there may be a few sprinkles on the windshield out there, but it was a toasty warm day with almost 90 in southeastern Colorado and 60s in the mountains for spring skiers. We're still mild, sun hasn't set yet, goes down about 737. We're at 71 degrees currently in Denver. Watching the wind forecast very closely because of the warmth, the wind, the low humidity. We have red flag warnings out for tomorrow and a fire weather watch. This in advance of a storm that's already spreading high clouds into the area. This storm's coming in with a cold front that will be here in about 24 hours, and that's when things really change. We're tracking some light snow and rain in the mountains along the spine of the Continental Divide and back in the Four Corners area, but it is tomorrow night that we go under a winter storm watch, a winter weather advisory in the mountains, up to a foot of snow possible by Saturday morning. That will be impactful for travel. Tonight, we just have these hit and miss showers. Some of that moisture not actually making it to the ground. We get you some sunshine tomorrow. We get back into the low 70s. It's tomorrow night things start to change. This is the snow forecast for Friday. 2 to 4 inches of wet, slushy snow in Denver. Roads will probably just be wet, but you go up into the foothills and it is heavy snow that will impact travel there. So sunshine and 71 for your Thursday. Rain showers Thursday night with the arrival of a cold front that brings all snow Friday. Friday's going to be cold. Our high is 37. We bust out of it midday Saturday with some clearing, but a chilly high in the mid 40s. Right now, Easter Sunday looks pretty good. The partly sunny dry at 61, and then a string of mild days from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Right now, Easter sunrise services looks dry, looks clear when the sun comes up, and we should be done with the rain and snow.
The most Colorado thing we saw today is watering the snow. That's what happens when you get an 80-degree weekend. People get all hot to trot to turn on their sprinklers, then it snows Monday morning. Viewer named Lori snapped this photo in Westminster. To be safe, Denver Water suggests waiting until after the average last freeze, typically May 5th, to turn on sprinklers. I'm not going to lecture you here. I turned on mine this past weekend, but I'm not running them because I don't want to get dragged on TV.
Whatever measures we can take prior to that fire event occurring are going to set us up for success down the road.
Colorado's firefighters prepare for the worst of fire season and for the potential of a federal funding cut. Hey, a reminder, you can watch this program streaming each night, 6 p.m. on 9 News Plus. Next is a podcast each weeknight, wherever you find podcasts. There's fire mitigation happening all around Colorado, paid for in large part with our tax dollars sent to the federal government, then sent back here for the work of preventing wildfires. We tagged along with Boulder Mountain Fire today as they prepare for the dual uncertainty of summer fires and a federal government cutting programs with little or no notice.
The Front Range is dry right now. Whatever measures we can take prior to that fire event occurring are going to set us up for success down the road. We can actually start to help reduce the risks to the residents of this area, roughly 1,100 homes. What it looks like is a bunch of ants crawling all over the hillside. And they will be felling trees, cutting them into pieces that are movable by hand. And in this particular project, piled into slash piles to be burned during the winter months. One of the things that as fire managers we're watching is how dry vegetation is. An example of that is the tree that was just felled snapped when it hit the ground. Funding for mitigation efforts like what we've witnessed today come from a number of different partners, and that spans both federal and state, and more recently county funding. I mean, we're keeping a key eye on the federal funding, which is an important piece to this whole puzzle. Locally, we have continued to see federal dollars come in. We do keep an eye on things that are happening nationally and are making some sort of plan Bs to, if federal funding did disappear, how would that affect our operations? We're well aware that wildfire is a part of this ecosystem and will continue to be. And the more prepared we are for that day, the better we're going to be during the event.
Dropping those trees helps with the forest density. It limits invasive species and boosts the overall health of the forest. Speaking of boosting overall health, star patient at physical therapy today, Marilyn, doing all the exercises with the broken wrist. Still broken, still mending. Still mending is what we say here. It's still mending. Your feedback is next. Suburban poverty is often hidden or ignored, or both. Secor is a nonprofit with a food pantry serving more than 400 families a week in Douglas, Arapahoe, and Elbert counties. They told me the demand is so great, they could be serving 600 families a week if they had the funding. So let's see what we can do about that. This week, there is an anonymous $25,000 match for our Word of Thanks donations. Whatever we raise will be matched dollar for dollar up to that amount. So this has the potential to have a huge impact on hunger in the southern suburbs. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to get the link to join me and a bunch of others in donating. Michelle on Blue Sky. Yes, if you're on Blue Sky, it's kind of like Twitter, but instead of being like far right, it's like far left. Anyway, Michelle on Blue Sky says, thank you for choosing Secor for this week's giving campaign. They bring mobile markets to Cherry Creek schools. Meeting basic needs of families should be dignified and kind. Michelle says Secor does that. Shirley says, now that's a jacket. Would love to know its history. Well, let's check the pocket card. Pocket card says that I last wore it in 2023. This one nearly went to Goodwill because I ate my way out of it a couple of years ago.